Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Coach JC. Everyone gather around, should we get one today? Today's topic is how to date properly. This topic is coming up because I seen a video by Tony Gaskin. I just wanted to kind of follow up on what he was saying. He basically was saying, date to collect data. You can date more than one people. When you're dating, it's basically just like an open interview. You know what I'm saying? You can date multiple people, you can date 2 people, 3 people, but and my whole response to that is that yeah, when you're out there in the dating phase, I mean, you basically just dating to see what's out there. You got to get to know people, the good side, the bad side, the side that you don't really want to see, and there's really no limitation as far as how many dates you should take different people. Or you're just trying to fill people out. That's the thing about when you're out there dating. You have to fill people out. You gotta get to know people. You gotta see how people are under different circumstances, etc. Because it's easy just to go on one date and your mind might be clear or it might be fuzzy, but you always have to make sure that when you're out there dating, that you have a purpose. That's why it comes down to having your core values, knowing yourself first before you try to bring somebody else into your life. Try to make sure that your life is progressing, make sure it's thriving before you try to add somebody on. And once again, like I said, dating is just what it is. It's just collecting data. A lot of people maybe get upset or mad. Hey, I'm dating multiple people, or hey, I might be dating 2 people or 3 people at the same time. As long as everybody, once again, is upfront and honest on what you're about, I don't really have issue with it. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to date, supposed to experience new people and see, you know, how people relate to each other. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy just to put all your eggs in the one basket. Especially nowadays, like I said, you don't know who's who. There's so many options, so many selections. Uh, I always look at it like, Netflix and Hulu and Prime. There's so many ways to watch movies and stream stuff. So it'll get kind of difficult. But once you start dating, 3, 4 months into the relationship, you know, then you guys can ask those questions like, hey, what are we doing? Where are we going? And that way y'all can have more clarity for y'all both to kind of see y'all are on the same wavelength. The one thing about just dating, dating is always about purpose, it's always about being intentional, as it should be, And some people, they just date just to date, Some people, they date get free food, I mean, might not be a better option to do, but people do that. So you have to always just be mindful, be careful, live within your means, live within your budget, because like I said, you're dating multiple people, especially as a man, you got to be vigilant when you're out there dating, because it's not, it can't, like I said, the cost can go up, you know what I'm saying? But you stick to a certain budget, certain limit, you'll need to go out there and spend $200-300 on a woman, and you don't have it like that. It doesn't make any sense. Not a business choice for you, financial choice for you, and it puts too much pressure on yourself. It puts too much pressure on a woman. You know what I'm saying? Just because y'all go out on a date don't mean that sex has to be involved. Sex really should be the last thing y'all should think about. Really get to know this person inside and out. Really just take the time to see this person to get a genuine fit for you. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff's gonna come later if it rises to that. That shouldn't be your main driving force. It's just having sex and intercourse with that person. Really get to know the person's mind, body, soul, and spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I mean, it's one thing just to have sex or have a good time. That's one thing. You don't need to be dating for all that. If you want to go out there and have sex, like I said, you go out there and find you somebody to have sex with. You want someone to build with long-term longevity, yeah, then you go out there and date. And then it comes down to, You know, I really like this person. Then guess what? I don't want to cut. I want to cut. I don't want to. I want to cut everybody else off. I just want us two to be together. You know, and y'all two to be together. So, and like I said, that's what kind of happened with my wife. You know, like she was dating a few guys, I was dating a few, and then we kind of met, and then it was just like, you know, he didn't want to see anybody else, and we kind of became a couple, and kind of got into a relationship. And next thing we know, we're married for the past 5 years. But it do take time, it do take patience, and don't rush things. You know, go. And I'm not saying go with the flow. That's kind of like what the slang is, but just kind of just be patient, be vigilant. You know, this is time to really, you know, get to know somebody new, energy level, you know, what they've been through in the past, you know, what they're aspiring to be as far as career-wise, children-wise, everything. It's a new person, you know, get excited, going on dates, get excited, get to know somebody new, see different parts of the world that you really haven't experienced, you know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that y'all have to have sex, you have to, you know, get anything physical. It just means that, hey, you're just dating, you know, taking the time, just enjoying each other's company. Like I said, you can have 3, 4 dates like that. But, you know, like I said, it is a cost factor, especially for men. So just be really selective when you're out there dating. I mean, for me personally, it might be, like I said, me personally, like even if I was single, it might just be maybe just 1 or 2 people. Because like I said, I like to keep my circle small, you know, people I like to spend time with. It really precious to me, so I'll be very cautious, be very aware of who I spend my time with. I mean, me just dating random person just because they have a physical aspect that I might be enjoying, it's just not for me. But like I said, everybody's program built differently. But yeah, though, what's your thoughts though? You know, how to date properly? Like I said, some people just date just for fun, casually. Some people date to try to find somebody, and some people just date, you know, to have sex, which is, you know, no, not really necessary, but like you know, just slow down and just, you know, date. I just get to explore this person's mind, you know, see what the person's about, you know, and try to see how they are in different situations. Everything ain't always be high or everything always can be great. Things, look at the person when they, you know, struggling too, you know, how they deal with that. And I kind of can tell the person who you're dating to see this person good to kind of move on to the next phase. But until next time out, make sure you like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel as well too. What's your thoughts about this comment? How to date correctly, or just how to date? Feel free to comment below. Until next time out, Coach JC.